a shame about that young girl. I saw the posters on the back of your car. Did you know her?
No, but I've got daughters of my own.
Just want to do your little bit to find her. Good on you.
This is the news at 1. I'm Martin Baker. Wiltshire police say they're confident of finding missing 22-year-old Shana Callahan. Thousands of people from the around the area have joined the search for Shana, who's been missing since the early hours of Saturday morning. Police revealed earlier today that they have narrowed down the search area dramatically and no longer need the public's help. A pilot who suffered a heart attack.
Heard that they were about to arrest someone. Isn't that what that policeman said? Right?
I did. Oh, there it is.
What police officer the aircraft on Sunday afternoon?
Oh, that car, that's well. I'll get police taxis in the road. These officers can't put when it came to the house.
So it's just a matter of time.
The man, a shocking name, was said to be making a silver cover. A 22-foot metal statue.
Okay, he's back home. A couple of hours before he goes back out on the evening shift.
Copy that. Come in. I've asked Pat to be here. Pat's got commander. He'll need to be across everything.
You've left Halliwell in place still?
I think it's our best bet to recover Sean alive soon.
I think that's becoming increasingly unlikely, Nasty.
Well, I'm not prepared to give up yet. Are you?
Joyce.
How are you?
How are you?
Stay closer.
Oh, wait a minute. I lost my waiting room. There we go. Well, it's not letting people come straight in. It's not supposed to be using the waiting room. We're going to use the other piece.
See, I need you to sort out an authority for an intercept.
There we
on
go.
Harold's phone.
Come on.
Do it now, yes.
There, admit all. There we go. There we go.
People.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. I'm just going
Hi.
to take myself out, but then I'm here if you need me. I'm just covering my camera. Okay. And I'll make sure that everybody gets a minute. I don't know why it was not letting you guys join straight in. So goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, so break the door down. Maybe she's there.
Mute.
Maybe.
Need to get my volume turned up here. Okay. How's it going?
Boring, and I'm getting crabby.
Oh no.
Too much stay-at-home time.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I'm going to share my screen just because we have so many different documents that I've kind of uploaded. So just in case we need to reference them, I think I'm going to go ahead and have them up.
Okay. Tim, are you working from home?
Yep. Starting to get pretty used to these Zoom meetings. I, unlike pretty much everybody, am such a homebody that besides driving to work every day, there's really no change to my lifestyle.
Really? Oh,
I could do this forever.
really?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
No
My
problem.
Goodness. How about you, Charlie? You working from home?
Yep, have been since what, mid-March, and probably will be for a little while to come still.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello. Are you phoning it in, John Eric?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I don't see you on the thing. Oh, okay, there you are.
Okay.
See.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm in
so
my dark room.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone.
So now I'm only seeing, I've got the big agenda. I've got Ashley's, documents on my full screen. and I only have like one person down in the corner. So what do I need to do to get back to?
If you hover over that where you see the people or person, I guess, you have different options. You can make a grid, you can make everybody kind of line up along the side, or I think you can,
because I don't know if you have the grid. Yeah, I had the grid until you put up the document, and then I lost the grid. So,
but she's sharing the screen. I have like little thumbnail videos of everyone at the top, and the agenda is in the main screen.
Yeah, that's the way mine's set up also.
And can you hear everyone? Because maybe you can just look at the agenda and hear people.
Yeah, Joyce, what are you watching on? Are you on a laptop or a mobile device?
No, I'm on my iPad.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm on the iPad too, and I'm actually not seeing the visual setup for me. I think once somebody starts sharing the screen, that you lose some of that capacity to see everyone. I think that'll come back when she stops sharing the screen. I'm having the same problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Not that I would know how to fix it, but I'm getting a little more savvy with Zoom.
I think it's just an iPad limitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's, and it'll go away whenever the screen sharing.
Which, if everybody has the documents in front of them right now, I can stop the screen share. It was just my way of making sure everybody was seeing what we were talking about. So it's totally up to you guys.
I really prefer the screen share.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too.
We're all on the same page, and I'm not distracted by everybody's lovely faces.
Any cats that walk in the background or
Yeah. Is everybody here? I think everybody's here.
I have no idea.
You can click on participants. I think everyone's here.
Yeah, I saw the list a second ago. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say we start then, because I think that everybody's here in the participants list. So roll call, no absences. We have everybody here, including Ashley, and Kim is on the call as well. And
kind of.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, and so did everyone get a chance to look at the minutes from April?
Yes.
I do have
Is there any
one correction.
need
Charlene's last name is Oldham.
I was just a little confused by number 2. I wasn't sure because it's a special meeting to confirm new director, authorize Evan to make offer. I think, but then it rolls right into adult service coordinator. So I'm thinking it's 2 separate.
Yeah, there should be a line break.
Yeah, 2 separate sentences, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Or if you use the same document each month, could that have just supposed to be deleted and it wasn't deleted? Because if this is April minutes,
Oh yeah,
that's from March 18th. Yeah.
Basically it was, I think the question was the last time if they needed to have a special meeting to make an offer. It was not last meeting. I think it was, we were talking about that. And that's all I had on my notes. So that's how I put it, because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I think it was brought up that there needed to be a mention of the special meeting. And at that special meeting, Evan was authorized to make an offer. I believe, Tim, isn't that how it went,
Yeah, that's my recollection.
Okay,
Okay.
so how do I correct it? Just put it on a separate line?
I would, again, I'm not totally sure on this, but I would remove the adult services coordinator, Charlene Oldham, because that was in the
different,
March.
right.
And because there doesn't have to be a special meeting to fill that position. You just hire that one. So I think that sentence can just be deleted.
Taken off. Okay.
Right, so after offer, adult service coordinator Charlene Oldham can be deleted.
Okay, so just leave the special meeting to confirm new director, authorize Evan, or
Well, it didn't confirm the new director. It was authorized Evan to make an offer to Ashley as new director. But then you would need the date of the special meeting in there also. Was that wasn't for, and off the top of my head, I don't know what the date of the special meeting was.
Okay.
Wasn't it right before the regular meeting or was it not? I can't remember.
It was Heather, because I could make the special meeting, but then I was going out of town and I couldn't make the regular meeting. So I think it was just a day or two apart.
Okay, so with that correction, I can get with you, Ashley, and revise the minutes. Is that good?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, everything else looks good, I think. So, motion to approve the meeting minutes from April.
I move to approve.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 And opposed. Okay, so that is that. Public comments. Did we have anybody sign up to make a public comment?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, so we'll move on to communications from St. Louis Bike Works.
So, as you know, Kim was working towards fulfilling the grant that I believe Kathy applied for, but then I think it kind of fell in that weird period. So Kim ended up taking care of it, where we got new computers, and we donated the old computers to St. Louis Bee Works, who they totally revamped the computer, wiped the hard drive, and let teenagers rebuild the computers, and then they have a computer at home. So it really targets those kids that might not be able to afford to have computers. So after Kim did that, they just sent this nice little lovely thank you letter.
That's nice.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Both of my kids did the Bite Works and the Bike Works, where they give you a bike at the end of it.
Yeah, it's
a
really
great
cool.
program.
I've never heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually purchased my bike from Bike Works. They're a great organization. So thanks for.
Are you guys
for
saying
doing that.
bike like BIKE or BITE?
So
It's both.
Yeah, there's
the
two.
computer one is BYTE, like computer bite, but then their Bike Works program is also separate.
So kind of combined, the one nonprofit is just B Works, just the letter B Works. So if you just put that, I think it kind of combines the two of them.
Did we? Is that something to brag about on social media? Did we post about that at all?
I don't think we did, but I can. Oh, you know what? Yes, Kim did. She posted a picture of the carts with the computers waiting for pickup, saying, you know, B-Works are picking this up, and guess what that means for us, kind of thing. You know, we donated this and all these new computers too. So.
Okay, so I think we are moving on to the budget, or like statistics and budget, I believe. Financial report.
Yeah, so here are the what Kim posited last time about kind of the theory that the reason those numbers were negative was because they were going back and rebalancing errors and things that weren't quite there. So this is the list. So Kim was right, that is what happened. So the reason you were seeing those negative numbers is, I mean, you can see on here to clear this check, to clear that check. So just going back and kind of cleaning up the account and making sure all the numbers are now correct. So that's why it looked funky last month.
Great.
Okay.
So the March financials were not approved last month. So we'll need to approve both this month.
Okay. Do we want to go ahead and look at this month's, and then we can approve both?
Sure.
Okay.
Is it not in here? Am I missing it? Oh, it's all the way. Okay. I wasn't scrolling right. Okay. So that is the April.
Okay.
And so I know you guys had asked to add a column that used to be on there, but then wasn't on there for March. And so I talked to her about that, and I explained what it was. And I said, you know, is that something that you can do, or is that something that I should do? And she said, oh, no problem. I can do it. So did she? Are you seeing what it was that you were looking for?
No, I think what we had before was we had the same month last year, because there's some seasonality with some of this. So it'd be like April 2020 and then April 2019 next to it.
Okay. So instead of adding that as a column, what she did was just gave us the whole report from last. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's more work.
Yeah.
So last year we were at 78.8% of our entire revenue budget. This year we're at 89.5%. So there's a little bit more scrolling doing it this way, but the information is there.
Yeah.
So it looked like we were gonna have a bunch of money left over in salaries, but I might be reading that wrong, because I guess we still have 2 months left of the year. But do you think we have some money left over?
I think we're going to have money left over in quite a few categories. And I don't know, whenever this was budgeted, I don't know what Harry's retirement plan was. So I don't know if this had his salary in there as a 30-year director, and then now it switched to mine as a, you know, so I don't know if maybe that could possibly explain it. I don't know when Harry actually retired.
Right, October 31st. And then in March, there were 5 or 6 weeks where there wasn't a director. So there would be no salary, you know, for that. And then we didn't know that Dawn was going to be retiring, and Charlene is getting less than Dawn earned. And also
Kim.
Kim, yes, is earning less, which we didn't know, you know, the salary amounts when the budget was when we approved the budget last June.
Sure. So I think that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have a question, Ashley, and it's 535 equipment.
Uh-huh.
Is that 17,000 the money that had to get put out for the computers before we get money back from the grant?
So I believe, let me see here, because the 541 computer maintenance, that 17,000, that is the computer money. So if that 535 line, if that's a total, which no, it doesn't look like it is.
I remember Kim asked me about charging something to that line, but I don't
There
remember.
is, I know that I just submitted, you guys had talked about some shelving for youth services, but that wasn't anywhere near, that was like $500 or something.
Right.
Yeah, so I have an email from Kim that said, should I put the computers under computer maintenance or equipment? And I said, put them under equipment, but it almost looks like they got put in both places or something. So we might want to check that we actually spent $17,000 in both places.
Right. That was my question.
Okay.
It looks like a coincidence that the year-to-date maintenance, that's our contract with whatever company does networking, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is it?
So I think, yeah, the year-to-date adds up to 17,000.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
It was 18,000 in the annual budget for that.
Yes. So that would make sense. So the 18,000 or the 17,000 is for the Miller Technology Group, and then computers in equipment, and we will at some point get a check back for that.
Okay, that was my other question. But isn't it only half? Didn't we have to contribute like 6,000 or something?
Kim would have the details on that. She totally knocked it out before I did anything. She got in there and she took care of it.
Okay. And then I was wondering about the office software that she had to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering if that was in here yet, because there's nothing under computer software, but nothing was budgeted either.
So I think those were the forward / payments. And if so, yes, those have been paid. Did Kim say she was listening to this?
I thought she said she was going to turn.
I'm here.
You're okay.
I just took my video off. So,
Okay.
Andrew?
Yeah, the computer maintenance includes the install of the computers, plus all the Miller Group stuff. Software, I thought I had put it under computer software, but it's not showing up there. That was 700 and something. And I have the paperwork ready to send to the state. We just have to get some signatures from Ashley on it, and we'll send that to the state to get reimbursement. And yeah,
So
Joyce was right. It's about $6,000 out of our budget for the new computers and stuff. So
Kim, is the state reimbursing the entire cost of the Microsoft Office?
They're not reimbursing any of the software because that was not written into the grant.
That's right. Okay.
So that had to just come.
Yeah.
We just had to
So
eat that.
Okay, that will come out of
I've
budget.
got them on my.
Yeah. No. Any other questions for me?
I had a question about the 525 loggers. Is that just because you guys haven't signed up for that yet, or?
So Kim, that is the retirement. So Kim, Charlene, and myself, we won't show up on the loggers until we've been employed for 6 months. So it is going to be a bit lower until we all get to that 6 month period, and then you're going to see it jump.
Okay, thanks.
Because yeah, I actually asked loggers that. I didn't realize that, and I was like, "Why is this payment so low?" And they explained it to me. So,
guys, I just wanted to let you guys know that we lost. It looks like we lost John Eric.
Yeah, John Eric just texted me and said he's lost his internet connection completely.
Yeah, I just got a similar text. I don't really know how to loop him back in, but just enough.
You should be able to click the Zoom link again and just rejoin.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's
see if I can find the call number. Oh, there he is. He's coming back. Got it. All right. John Eric should be back.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to mute myself, but if you need me, just call out to me.
So this might be slightly off topic because I tend to do that, so you can address it later. But did you talk to that lady from the city who was claiming we hadn't paid her for retirement or insurance or something?
The retired one who's doing Cobra?
No, remember she wrote us that like kind of mean letter last meeting, or maybe it was 2 meetings ago.
So it was 2 meetings ago. It was in response. It was her response to the letter that we sent to the to City Hall.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Okay.
I usually remember mean letters, and I don't remember.
I think it was the meeting your first meeting, or it was the one we talked to Anthony Traxler. So Kim was running that meeting, I think.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't there for that one.
Letter. Do we have a copy of that letter that we can send to Ashley? I don't know if we do.
There's a copy in the board meeting notes from March.
Okay.
Hey, this is John Eric. My internet went down totally, but I just got back on with my phone. So, hello.
Yeah, Heather, I was going to bring that up when we looked at the new budget, because Ashley had a question mark about after insurance, what is this? Because, yeah, so I thought Terry was going to make a good faith payment. He was just going to take the amount that he had paid last and multiply it by how much time it hadn't been paid and just send it in. Now, I don't know if that's ever been traced, if that ever happened or not.
Okay, because I was having, what type of insurance is it?
Like the building insurance?
Building.
I thought it was like health insurance or something.
Okay.
No, I thought it was the building insurance.
Okay, because I've kind of been freaking out a little bit about the insurance. I did reach out to the, whenever I was kind of looking into the roof stuff, I reached out to the city and I was just like, hey, is the roof, who covers the insurance for this building? I know you guys own it. Who covers the insurance, and is the roof covered at all? And they said, and they gave me the information. They said that they have the insurance on it, and of course the roof isn't covered. But where is the information on our workman's comp and our liability? And that I haven't been able to find anything on any of that type of insurance.
I think the city handles all of it. I think that was the problem, right?
I don't know, because at some point, didn't the library start its own?
Yeah, they split off, and that caused.
It was with. Yeah, they split off the loggers. They have their own loggers account now.
Mm-hmm.
But I really thought Terry had contact about the building insurance, and that's when he never got a response, and that's when we were kind of getting nervous with, you know, some of the things, and he just was going to go ahead and pay. Tim,
Joyce, if you look at 544 insurance, which I think is the building insurance, if you look at the April 2019 budget, the annual is like 3,800. And if you look at the April 2020 annual budget, you'll see it's 7,600. And I think that was the 2-year period because the city never billed us.
Right.
And I seem to recall that Terry was going to proactively pay that.
That's
but
what I thought too.
It done. So
right. That's
we
my
need to find that letter because she claimed. I can't find a copy of that letter. Kim, if you can find it, can you send it to Ashley? Because that lady claims she billed us and we never paid
Wasn't
her.
it an email?
That's what I'm thinking. I can't find it.
It was okay. It was sent as an email, and I turned it into a PDF and put it in the file, but I don't have access to her screen. Let me see if I can get to my desktop.
It's with the March documents.
It should have been in the March documents.
Oh, there it is. A track for email. Yeah. Okay, this is it. Yeah, so Ashley, I think you can follow up with this lady.
Okay. So Karen is actually the one that I talked to, and she didn't say anything about us owing the city money. So maybe I'll just email her tomorrow and see exactly what's covered, what their expectations of us are. And also, I found the lease and I was looking at it not too long ago, and it kind of said, you know, these are the expectations, you know, we'll do some minor repairs for you, but you're responsible for this, this, and this. So I can pull that out and kind of compare what they're saying versus what that says.
There's, scroll back down. There was something about receiving a check.
Second page?
Yes, didn't match. Okay, stop, please. Okay, nope, that wasn't it.
Somewhere she said
I just saw
that she didn't have a record of us paying them. I know she said that somewhere in there.
Yeah.
On page 1, it does talk about not getting the payment. So
you want me to go back up?
Yeah,
please.
go to page 1.
Yeah,
okay.
Here. Marty provide.
Okay. Marty, yeah, that's it. The second paragraph.
Yes, the casualty liability and after.
Okay. Because that was another question I had. Were all 3 of the board members who signed for checks covered on the directors and officers liability also? Because that's pretty standard. But I couldn't find anything on it.
Yeah.
Probably not. I would doubt that we would be.
Okay. You would know because
I recall Terry telling us we were covered under that.
Yeah, because I asked him when I became treasurer, and he said we were. So I hope we are.
Right. So according to that second paragraph, the library does owe a portion of, or is responsible for a portion of the insurance.
Okay. Well, I will email Karen tomorrow and get this figured out because that's going to change the budget. I was looking at it and it had a fat zero and I was like, well, what is this then? Why is it here? So see if I can get some numbers from her and what they're because if they don't send me a bill, I'm not paying, I'm not just sending them money just cause. So
and that's totally what happened. Is there any way to trace if Terry made a payment to the city? Wasn't that just last?
It was very recent and
last spring.
It's in the board notes. Yeah, it was like in September or something.
And I think previous to that, wasn't he repeatedly asking them?
Yes.
Or is that something else?
No, I think he told us emailed them.
Yeah.
But she was claiming he didn't, so.
I know, that's such a mess.
So, Ashley, could you check also just to make sure that the signers are covered under that liability insurance?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as tracking payment, the bank statements that I get are very bare bones. And what I see online only goes back to the end of the previous month, but I will ask the accountant, I'll ask Joanne and see if she can come up with something. If I have an amount, that would probably, if I can get an amount from Karen, that would probably make things go a lot quicker. She could just, find that amount.
We should have it on last year's budget too, because wasn't it, we held it over as a liability or something weird? Like it had its own special little line item.
Yeah, because the insurance line was at 0. So I don't know where he had that.
Still off topic, but related to this discussion, Anthony Traxler told us he was going to give us something in writing regarding the lease and what the city would and wouldn't pay for. Maybe you can pester him to get that.
Okay. I'll look and see the document that I found that kind of said who was responsible for what. It wasn't anything official, I don't think, but I'll look and see exactly what it said, see if maybe it was something official and I just didn't realize it was, and then touch base on that.
See, last year's insurance, $3,800, unrestricted reserves. So he was holding it because they never asked us for it.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I think he gave up and just mailed it to them or something.
That was my understanding is what he was going to do. He was just going to take the last amount that he had paid and multiply it by the time that it hadn't been paid. And that's what he was going to do.
Well, if he did write the check, we would have a record of a check being cashed, right? Or
well, that's what Ashley was saying, that it's not as easy as it sounds, I guess, tracing the check.
You would really think it would just be a matter of going on the online account and looking at your history. And I try, and it's like, oh, well, you can go back to April 30th. Well, what does that do for me? That doesn't do anything for me. Especially whenever it took them a month to even give me access. Yesterday was the first day I was able to access our account online.
And
does the checkbook have a
yeah, I think I could probably go through, it's just a very, very old system, so it might take me a while, but I think I could probably, is it a check that we would have made out directly to the city, or would it have went out to an insurance company?
I think the city.
I would think the city, but
I don't think we ever did. Because I don't remember signing it.
Says
Ashley,
checkbook.
is this account at Citizens National Bank?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it is. Citizens National Bank, yeah.
Okay, because I bank there and I can trace my checks going back. I can put in a time frame and look at the checks, you know, during a certain time frame.
I will, yeah, I'll definitely look into it. Because yeah, that's what Kim is talking about in the chat. That's kind of what I was saying. We have a really old program, but I can kind of organize it by who we paid to, or I can organize it by what line item it's coming out of. So it's not I don't love working with the program, but I can sign up and and do that. So if we made it to the city, excuse me, if we made it out to the city, I can just look at everything we paid to the city, and just get that list.
Okay.
And I'll look for something that's like $3,800.
Yeah, Tim, do you have any recollection of what the amount was Terry was talking about?
I think it was that the amount that's budgeted in the annual budget under 544, which is $7,600.
But that's times 2 years.
Yeah, that was
right. He was trying to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So are we done with this letter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So where exactly are we now? I apologize. I was going in and out of my connection here.
I think we're ready to approve both of the treasurer's reports. I think.
All right. So motion to approve March and April's treasurer reports.
Evan motions to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so that is approved. And now we go into the librarian's report.
All right, so the statistics are actually in a different document because I haven't totally decided the best way to do statistics with things going the way they are. So I did talk to Kim, you know, about next month starting the digital statistics, seeing what, you know, now that we've started kind of picking up, and with summer, we're going to be doing some actual virtual programming with, you know, performers and that sort of thing. So the statistics that I have for this month is right. Just the ebooks that we have going on. So they're not super impressive, to be honest. We did obviously see an uptick in the circulation for both Overdrive and Hoopla. The Hoopla statistics this year compared to April last year is like way, you know, up there. So I was really pleased with that. And we did just get a grant. The MLC as a whole got a grant for $10,000 to add to the Overdrive collection. So
good.
I think, yeah, so I think that will also next month, I think this number will be even higher because of those new additions. but otherwise there's not much else to say by way of statistics. We will get those digital statistics out next month, and it's just kind of a new thing, I guess. So yeah, I just kind of have here what I've been up to. One thing that I would like to bring up is this ballot drop off. The Board of Elections is asking all of the MLC libraries to consider being a location for absentee ballot drop off. They would install the drop boxes. They would do all the maintenance. So if something broke or if it got graffitied or something like that, it's totally on them. We would do nothing with it. We would not even touch it. The only reason we would have to touch it is if somebody got it confused with the book drop and put their ballot in the book drop. That's, walking the ballot over to the ballot box is the only time we would touch it. And some libraries are even saying they're not even going to do that. They don't want to touch a ballot at all, period. So they're going to leave it in the book drop and let somebody come and move it. So it's, it's just another service that we could potentially offer. But of course, since we don't own the building, we don't own the property, I would have to, if it was something we were interested in, I would have to go to the city and see what they thought about it.
Are they asking that for the June or August or November or all of them?
They actually don't have a date at all. They were supposed to be getting the information to us a couple weeks ago and they didn't. I think, don't quote me on this, because my memory may be acting up. But I think that they said that they're actually having inmates build the boxes as like an inmate work program. I could just be getting that confused with something else, but that's what's in my head. So they just really are, whenever they talk to us, they were still in like the design phase. They were still designing what these things were going to look like. So it's definitely not going to be in time for the June 2nd. That is not going to happen. But I think they're hoping for the end of the year. Whether or not that happens, I don't know.
Ashley, I was a little confused why they need one because I already received my absentee ballot for the June 2nd. And it came with an envelope that you didn't even need to put postage on.
I have no idea. I've never voted in Missouri. I've only ever voted in Illinois. So I don't really know what it looks like or what they send to you. So honestly, I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, it's the first time I ever did it. And the county sent out a letter saying, that if you are in certain groups, and can't get out. So I went ahead and sent it in and I already got the June 2nd one, but it came with this real nice envelope and you don't have to put a stamp on it or anything.
Yeah. I don't know why they'd need a drop off. I've never seen one. I've never heard of it. Like I said, I've done voting in Illinois and I just mailed it in whenever I was in Illinois. So it wasn't something that I was super familiar with or really knew about. But they asked, so I said I'd pass it on.
Sure. I just interesting why.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem letting them put it there, even if nobody uses it.
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea too.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's really no effort for us besides, letting them come in. It's totally outside. They wouldn't even have to come inside. So it's literally no effort for us, except for I have to talk to the city and see what they think. That's really all. So.
Just one more great service from the public library.
Sure, exactly. All right, so I will talk to the city and see what they say. And they might say, no, we don't want holes drilled in our concrete or something. I don't know. But I'll see what they say and go from there. Other than that, we've had our Instagram page for a month now, and we have 86 followers. which I was going to be pumped if we got 50. So I'm pretty excited about the 86. And then I just have a little update about what staff has been doing. They've been doing webinars at home, and today they came in for a round of training for what we're gonna, whenever we start getting the book drop and whenever we start curbside. I wanted to make sure everybody's prepared. So they did come in for training today, and they will be reporting for duty May 26th. They will only be getting paid for the hours they're working. So if they only work, if they normally work 30 hours and they're only working 5 hours that week, they're only getting paid for the 5 hours. So we're back to normal, essentially, is what I'm getting at here. We're back to normal. And we did have one of our shelvers turn in her resignation. She said it wasn't, she just had too much going on. I don't think it was anything, I don't think she hated it here or anything like that.
Who was it?
Kimberly Meyer.
Oh, okay.
And I think she's newer. I don't think she's been with us that long. And as of right now, I don't have any plans to hire a new shelver. I really think that we can get by with 2 shelvers. So with her leaving, that leaves us with 3. So if something changes, then that's fine. We can worry about that. Oh, hey, Kim.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you let Gina into the meeting?
Oh, I thought I clicked that. Well, all right. Did you make it back, Gina?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What happened? Did I miss anything important?
I don't know when you left.
It's been a minute. I'll just listen along. I'll ask a few questions.
So I think we'll be perfectly fine with 3 shelvers. If we find out that we're not, then, we can look into hiring a new one, but I really think that we'll be fine with 3. So the big thing that took a lot of my effort this past month is, of course, the building. So I have put 2 different bids in the board drive, which I can flip on over to whenever I get through with this. So I did talk to Taupe Sewer because there was a theory that maybe the sewers within the walls were leaking, and they said, no, that's not it. I talked to our HVAC just in case it was that was leaking. They said, no, that's not it. So I guess it's the roof, our final option. So I have 2 bids. Both of them said, oh no, someone else got kicked out again.
Oh, Johnny Eric gone
on there. He
may have, maybe it's his internet again.
Sorry.
I have somebody on here who's just a blank screen. Is that him?
I don't know. It
That's
says
me.
he's here.
That's Kim. I covered up my camera.
Yeah,
Y'all don't need to see me.
Because your name pops up. I see the blank screen,
yeah.
but it has your name.
Yeah.
Then I have another blank screen that doesn't have a name.
It's John Eric.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
something may have
I think
happened
it
with his
says he's
Wi-Fi.
here, but he's not. Yeah, he says his internet's messed up. Is this recording?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's helpful at least.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just keep going then.
Yeah, I would say carry on.
Of course, I wanted to get 3 bids, and John, the public works superintendent, was talking to a roofer, and they were supposed to send him a bid to pass on to us, and I have not received it. I did check in with John last week, and as of last week, John still said that he didn't have it. So right now we're just at the 2 bids, but we can look at those. Every company has said, don't do patch repairs. Don't just repair it. Number 1, it's not warrantable. And number 2, they're going to have to go up and do a scan to see where all the repairs are, which is going to take some time. Then they're going to repair it. And then in 2 or 3 years, we're still going to need a new roof. So they pretty much said it's not even worth it to just do repairs, that we're going to need to do a re-roof. So the final thing in my report, you guys asked me to look into the CARES Act Paycheck Protection Program. And whenever I did, like a week later, they were no longer accepting applications. They just had that big of a response to it. However, the IMLS, the Institute of Museum and Library Services, has a bunch of CARES money that they're giving away. And the thing with that is we can use it for a bunch of different things. We can use it for a new website. We can use it for salaries. We can use it for all sorts of different technology, hotspots, whatever. So we can kind of look at the guidelines and see which way we want to take it. And then it opens it up to a bunch of different options. So that's my plan for next week, is to look into that.
Ashley, is it possible that the Anthony Traxler could help us interpret the roofing bids?
I'm sure he would. I did talk to Anthony, and he says that a few years ago, the city got or the library or somebody got the roof waterproofed. And that is apparently failing. So he has asked me to try to come up with that information so he can look at it and see exactly what's going on, what happened. I can't come up with it. I just haven't found it. Kim is a little bit more familiar with the files in Terry's office. So she might be able to just point at it and be like, look at that file. But I just haven't came across it yet. So yeah, I think that he would definitely take a look at them for us. Because I've never built a roof. I don't know. And especially whenever we look at the bids, they're so vastly different that I think having somebody else look at them would be very beneficial, because they're just so, the price difference is huge.
Yeah, that my general take on it is the one was just going to put some kind of a liquid roofing on, whereas the other was going to put an actual membrane. I think they said EPDM, which is a standard membrane. I think they actually give us two options, EPDM, and there's another one that's like a white plastic that you seal up there. One thing I wanted to mention is on my house, I actually put EPDM on a flat roof section, and its standard comes in black, but you can get white EPDM, and I paid like a minor upcharge to get white, which right now our roof is black. I bet you it would help if we were able to get a white roof for heating and cooling.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I always think about how hot it must be up there.
The other thing with EPDM versus the, I can't remember, it starts with a T. There's another membrane, but, TPO, you can see it there in the bullets.
Mm-hmm.
TPO requires specialized equipment. EPDM, you can literally get a little can of sealant, and if there's like a little puncture, you could go up there and goop it on there. So repair costs are a lot less. And I'm not a roofing expert, but I bet Anthony could really tell us the pluses and minuses of this stuff.
Okay. So yeah, maybe that's why this bid is so much more expensive than the other one. Maybe it has something to do with that TPO that you mentioned. Because this bid is just about double almost
Yeah.
I think than the other bid.
I was told the stuff are supposed to last for like 40 years.
Okay.
Now I'm not advocating for us doing that. I mean, I think the other thing I'd like you to start thinking about or let us know your thoughts on are, these are big expenses. How should we budget and handle these?
Yeah. And that's to find out that we had a construction account and it's no longer there. That was just like, oh no, why is it not there anymore? That would have been perfect. So I think, to figure out which one we're gonna, if we need to look closer to this amount of money or closer to the other amount of money, and then that'll help determine how we come up with the funding. So this one is obviously the highest one, but this company did provide us with 2 different bids. And this one is the one that I believe is just the coating. So if you look at the price on this one, we have 2 options here, 60,000 versus, or 75,000 versus the other one was, what was it, 162,000?
Yeah.
So much different whenever we're just looking at a coating. And also the other thing is, I don't know if this company is union, and I don't know what Missouri laws are about us requiring prevailing wage. In Illinois, I had to do prevailing wage. I don't know if that's the case in Missouri. Anybody know?
I think it's based on local law, not state law. So it might be more about St. Louis County than it is about Missouri, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And Anthony
County
should know
prevailing wage.
that.
But that might be only for county projects. You know, Charlie?
I don't know offhand. I can bug some folks if you need to find out.
Okay. Well, this other company, the St. Louis Roofing Company, they are union. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. Yes, they are union. So, I mean, that's there anyway. So if we did go with them, we wouldn't even have to worry about it. And this gentleman that came out was incredibly helpful. He answered all of my questions. He walked around the library with me multiple times. He took a huge chunk out of his day to explain things to me. And he even was like, hey, I can actually see a hole right now. Like, can I just patch that up real quick? I was like, yes, you may. So he was just very knowledgeable, very helpful. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah. And Anthony might be familiar with these companies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Ashley, Anthony kind of like seemed to bear a grudge that last time around he provided an opinion and we didn't take it. So I think it would be valuable to kind of ask him what he thinks.
Sure. And, I did have a phone conversation with him and he did kind of lay out like, this is what's up. This is kind of what happened. And, I will reach out to anybody who can help us. And, I think that he just felt like the library was kind of being very closed off, almost building a wall, between the library and the city. And if we should have that relationship, and if he can answer a question for me, then gosh darn it, I'm going to reach out to him and ask that question. So, yeah. So any other discussion on the roof bids?
Yeah, I would just say like we should definitely run it by Anthony, see if there's anything that, and this might have already been said, but again, I'm going in and out of connection. I apologize. See if there's anything that can be seen about why there's that price difference. And like if that St. Louis roofing thing looks legit, according to Public Works people, then that's pretty promising.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm already emailing one person at the city tomorrow. I'll just email everybody at the city tomorrow. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers my librarian's report. Like I said, next month we'll have a lot more statistics for you to look at.
Okay, great. I always forget. Do we normally formally accept the librarian's report, or?
No.
Okay, good. Committee reports. I'm guessing there's nothing to report there. Correct me if I'm wrong though. And then, if not, we'll go into unfinished business, library closure, and staffing.
So I think that I pretty much covered the staffing. They're going to report back on May 26th for everything back to normal. Everybody working their, 40, 32, or 20 hours, whatever the case may be. As far as library closure, this is pretty much just a longer version of what I sent out not too long ago. We are pretty much, we're getting there with the pre-opening stuff. We have the sneeze guards, we have the PPE. I am still collecting as much as I can as I come across it. As soon as I find out somebody has something back in stock, I'm reaching out and seeing if we can get more. We have masks, we have gloves, we have hand sanitizer. I was kind of laughing because I got some hand sanitizer from a whiskey distillery, and I'm like, well, whenever that shows up on our bank records, what is Ashley doing over there? But it's hand sanitizer. And they threw a free bottle in for us. So if you ever visit Still 630, they gave us some free hand sanitizer. So it was very nice of them. So, I have what I can. I'm still, like I said, trying to get more as I can. The sneeze guards are actually pretty cool. They're just these little things that you can move around, and they don't weigh anything. And so if we need to move one over here, perfectly easy to do that. We are going to work towards moving all the cloth covered furniture down, and then social distancing, the computer areas, all that stuff. But of course, a lot of that we don't have to worry about until we open the building, which we still have no clue when that is going to be. But we're really excited to start curbside. I think it's really interesting that most people are just really excited to return their books. And they just want to get their books back to us because they're, I guess, scared of us. I don't know what it is. And Heather asked me earlier, what's actually going on with the due dates. Everything currently checked out across the MLC is due June 30th. So even though we're opening the book drop next week, everybody doesn't have to rush back and get everything back to us. We're going to try to make sure that they understand that, yes, you can return your stuff, but you're not going to be getting fines for this time that we've been closed. So we definitely want to make that clear. And staff is really excited to start curbside because they want to see their patrons. They have their favorites, they have their the people that they like to talk to and see and put a smile on their face. And so I think staff's really excited to start curbside.
What will the hours be, Ashley? Have you decided that?
Yes. So we're going to start Monday through Thursday, noon to 6, Friday, 9 to 1. If we need to add Saturday, we'll add Saturday. If we need to, do 9 to 6 on Friday, we'll do that. It's all just, I told them today during training, it's all flexible. We have to find out what works and go from there. And we all need to be just really flexible right now. Today, I spent a good amount of time figuring out how people can text the library, because right now it's, whenever you pull up, call us and we'll, do this or that. And a lot of the other libraries have been doing text us when you get here, or text us if you want to request a book, that sort of thing. So I think I have it now to where we can start texting with patrons. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then I am also working on a form, a reader's advisory form. And so you can fill it out, and because they can't browse, they can't come in and browse the library right now. And a lot of people don't like browsing the online catalog. It's, overwhelming, or, for whatever reason. I prefer browsing shelves to browsing the online catalog. So it's just a form that you say, I like James Patterson, and I hate Danielle Steele, and I feel like reading something funny. And then it gets submitted to library staff, and we kind of curate a list of, if you were browsing for that sort of thing, this is what you might come across. And then they can say, okay, well, request these 3 for me. And we do that right then and there. So it's really kind of about taking those services that they would have in the building, and how can we translate that to serving them outside the building. We're also working on how we're going to do printing services. So if it's something quick and easy, like a circuit breaker, every single librarian in the world knows exactly where to go to print the circuit breaker. You get the circuit breaker question a dozen times a day. So that's something that we can just have. You need a circuit breaker? Okay, here you go. Things like that are kind of what we're looking at as far as printer services.
So are you saying that people could call the library and say, do you have XYZ book? And then they come get it picked up?
Yes, starting June 3rd. We're doing a soft opening next week, where we're just seeing how it goes with people who already have items on the hold shelf. They've had these items on the hold shelf since March, since before we closed down. It's just been sitting there this whole time. So we're contacting those people to kind of do a test run of how curbside goes. And then on June 3rd is when we will officially say, yes, if you want to text me a book title, I will run and grab it. It'll be here at, if you're going to be here 4 p.m. Tuesday, it will be ready for you 4 p.m. Tuesday. Or, whatever the case may be. So that's June 3rd. And I do have a Facebook post going up tomorrow morning. It's already scheduled with that June 3rd date.
Can I ask you some specific questions about the PPE, like what the protocol is going to be for staff? I mean, I see they're going to be wearing masks and gloves. Like, are they going to be wearing those just for the drop-off pickup? Are they going to be distancing inside the building? Like, what is the protocol for that?
Sure. So anytime staff are in the same room, they will be wearing masks. Not gloves, because, everything you read is like washing your hands, just wash your hands, because you're more than likely going to cross-contaminate if you wear those gloves. You're not going to do it right. So just wash your hands. So I am making the gloves required whenever they take the bags, because I bought brand new plastic bags. So we're not reusing plastic bags or anything like that. So the books will go in a bag and they'll take the bag outside. So gloves and masks will be required whenever they do that. And then anytime, I don't know if you've ever been in the back workroom at the library, but it's like computer, you know. So in that sort of situation, they will be asked to yes, wear masks, especially because we do have some staff with compromised immune systems. That will be required if those computers back there, if you're the only one in the room, then no, you don't have to wear a mask. Sitting in my office alone, I probably will not be sitting there in a mask. But if somebody comes in my office to talk to me, then okay, I'll put that mask on. But then, yeah, like I said, as far as the gloves go, it's more just for getting the book drop and dropping the books off for patrons. Everybody's going to have hand sanitizer at their workstation. I made sure to get enough bottles that everybody's going to have one at their station. What else? For getting the book drop, I actually bought ponchos. So they will be, whenever they go get the book drop, they will be fully covered. They are literal rain ponchos. Other libraries were getting like the laboratory aprons, and I'm like, oh no, that doesn't cover your arms. We need to be fully covered. So I do have ponchos for that. They're probably gonna hate me whenever they go outside in them, but
not if it's raining.
Yeah, right. You know, just pull that hood up, you're good.
What about when they deliver materials to the car for pickup?
Sure. So delivering the materials is going to be totally contactless. So they are to wear masks and gloves during delivery, even though it's contactless. The plan is, if it's nice outside, if it's sunny, you know, whatever, then the person will pull up, either call or text the library and say, hey, this is Ashley Bryant. I'm here to pick up my stuff. And then they will walk the bag of books to the Maplewood Public Library, the big cement, stone, concrete sign out front, put the bag there, go inside. The person will come out of their car, grab their bag, and get back in their car. Now, the reason I'm still asking them to wear the masks and gloves is because people get antsy. People inevitably will be out of their car waiting, you know, anxiously to get their stuff. So they will still be wearing that PPE, but the point is to not actually even hand the items directly. Now, if the weather's bad, if it's raining, or if we do have a patron who's disabled who can't easily get out of their car, then we're just going to ask them to pop the trunk, open the front door, you know, whatever it is, and we'll set the items directly into your trunk, close the door, you're good to go.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Ashley.
Sure. Any other questions on that?
I think that's really great and comprehensive and well thought out.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so now we are on to new business. So there is a draft budget for the next fiscal year.
Yeah, I have a lot of notes on this.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So really the only thing that I want definite feedback on tonight, if possible, is I built in I can't find it, an amount. I put it somewhere in the computer section. I built in, there it is. I built in the cost of rebuilding our website, and I got the quote, and this is the quote that I was given, and they're ready to move on it. So that's really the, you know, if you want to take a look at this, think about it, ask me a million questions over the next month, you know, that's fine, whatever works for you. But if I can just see if everybody's cool with me spending this money to get a new website. I would love to know that.
So will staff be able to update this new site?
Yes. It'll be a WordPress site. So yeah.
Right.
I would greatly like us to update our website, in my opinion. So
me too.
Agreed.
Ashley, I don't really know what the cost typically is to build a website, possibly from sort of scratch. Did you get multiple bids, or is this standard? I mean, I just don't have any sense of what.
Yeah, this is about right. It's about standard. I did not get multiple bids this time. I did go through this process last year and got 3 or 4 different bids last year for a different library. But the main reason why I didn't do that this time is because this is with our current IT company, the same people who currently host our website. And whenever they provided a bid that is right in line with what it should be, I was like, oh, well, okay then. But I mean, I still can. I definitely still can. But yeah, that is a reasonable price.
And I just redid my other organization's website in WordPress, and we paid about $8,000. So I think the price is totally reasonable.
Yeah. And there was another option if we wanted it more specialized, more personalized, just that sort of thing. It would have been about $7,000. But for what we want, personally, I really like simple websites for libraries, just because you're going there for quick information. It's not a blog, you're not browsing a bunch of stuff, you're going there for certain information and you're getting out. So I personally just like sleek, simple, easy websites whenever it comes to a library website. So I was fine personally with getting the cheaper one, the $7,000 one was like, no, that's okay.
So the amount is the $6,995.
Yeah. So that's the more advanced. If we just get the basic, then it's this $3,600.
And that's a deal.
Yeah.
Is there any explanation of what the difference between a basic and advanced website would be?
Yes, and I did, because whenever I just saw it, I was like, what does that even mean? And I messaged him and I was like, I'm not just getting like a plain white screen with boxes thrown on it. Am I like, what do you mean here? And he said that pretty much it's just, you have a template and you're working within that template. You're not saying, okay, I want this flashy banner over here and I want this flash. You have a template and so you can change the colors. You can move this box over here, but you're not custom building, a big background and like I said, a flashy banner. You're not building all that. You have this template and you're working within it.
Do you think that they would get us like a video, or not video, but so we could see what it would look like, the basic and the whatever?
I think, I'm trying to remember, I did ask if they had an example and I can't remember if they sent me one. But I'm pretty sure if you just go to any of the other MLC libraries, those are going to be the basic. I can pull one up right now, actually.
I happen to agree with you that simple is better. When people are going to the library's website, they just need to find the basic things, and if it's more complex, it's not necessarily gonna be user friendly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or intuitive.
I've gotten so frustrated on library websites before. Like, just tell me what I'm looking for. So this is Kirkwood's. You have your, menu on the side. My personal preference is to have a menu across the top, but whatever. So let me see. We more than likely will not have all of this kind of thing going on here. Because my other philosophy with library websites is you don't want to scroll down more than like that, like 1 or 2 scrolls down and you're done, because I think there's, you know, research that has even shown that once you get more like past so many scrolls, you're not even looking anymore.
It's too much for the eye. Yeah.
You're done at that point.
And do they talk about like having it compatible, like, because most people are looking on their phone, you know, like
absolutely. That's, I think if anybody tried doing a website that was not mobile compatible, like they would just get fired immediately. Who else do we have? Ferguson.
I think it's good to change it up since we have a new director and new website. I mean, I think it's a good idea.
So yeah, this is pretty common to have like a banner across the top. That's pretty common. And then this is the one that I did at my last library. So you have the big message here, basic information here. It's not loading, there it goes. And then the buttons, and then the feed. And that's literally all you have. Everything else is hidden within these. So this is an example that whenever I went through my library redo, this is exactly what we did. We did that basic WordPress. And so you have the template, you go in and you say, okay, we're open now. I'm going to change this image, and you just change the image. It's really easy. They should have also taken that down. That shouldn't be there. And also they do, I'm not seeing it on here. There is supposed to be somewhere, I don't know where it went, but up here in the corner, there's supposed to be an accessibility symbol also, which is something that I'm trying to really push, is accessibility. So there should be a little accessibility. I don't know if you know what it looks like, but it's just like a little circle with like a little dude in it. And you click that, and then, you know, your mouse gets bigger, or the font changes, or, you know, whatever it is that you need, they can also build that in.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
This is again slightly off topic, but on a similar topic, for future updates, we have an app. I've never gotten it to work. I think it's broken. So
Yes.
Maybe we could also fix our app.
Yes, that is actually, let me see if I can look at it real quick. That is actually an MLC thing.
Oh, okay.
And we are, let me see what it looks like. Yeah, the MPL mobile. Yeah. I have gone on there a couple times. But it is MLC as a whole, and it's through our the computer software that we all use that connects us all together, and checkbooks in and out and whatever. So if you look at the consortium fees, this thing it's all over the place. But somewhere on here is consortium fees. There it is. They're actually higher. Well, no, they're not, because I invented the category. I don't know why that wasn't a category before. But the ILS within the consortium fees is higher than it was last year. And the reason is because we are looking at changing that app and getting one that's more user-friendly, that looks better. And with that, it does change our current app contract, and so it will, the consortium fees will go up a little bit with that.
Can you talk about your proposed revenues? They're quite a bit lower for next year.
Yes, they are a lot lower. And I did do that intentionally. My first thought was I pulled the tax assessed report, and it looks like what we're going to be getting is actually less than what was built into the budget last year. So it looks like what they estimated, it actually ended up being assessed lower. So I think we're going to end up with less money than what we had planned for in tax revenue.
Is some of that the disputed category or just the estimate from the state?
Just the regular assessed estimate versus actual. So I don't know. And there might be something out there that just isn't on the list that I found.
That might be a question to reach out to Terry Donnelly about, because he always had this sense of like, he'd done it for so long. He would like, oh, you know, we're below, but it's because X and Y.
Yeah. So his notes that he left, yeah. He was referencing files that like no longer exist. And so, yeah. I have also heard that somebody had been trying to reach out to him and he was not responding.
That's fine. It was just an idea.
Yeah. And you know what? I've considered reaching out to just the other MLC directors and being like, hey, listen, what exactly do you look at whenever you come up with this number? Because there's 50 numbers floating around there. And it's mind-boggling. So I think even just talking to the other directors, they're doing, even though it's, you know, Ferguson versus Maplewood, you know, it's still that they're still looking at the same thing, just a different line.
That might be a good idea too, because the taxes are reassessed every 2 years, and I feel like we're in next year will be year 2, so
it's the odd years.
That should make a difference, I think, somehow, and people won't be contesting it because it'll be the same as last year.
Yeah. So that was, yeah, I'll talk to them about that, because I did see that next year is the year that we need to come up with those numbers. But the other reason I did it so low, well, number one, I'm very conservative about money, but I don't know what's going to happen. Are people going to be able to pay their taxes? Are they going to put tax payments on hold? I'm honestly scared, and I don't want to think I have more money than what we do. That is another reason why a lot of these just say 0, because I don't want to put a number in book sales if we never open our doors to have book sales. Same thing with room rentals. Are we going to even be able to have room rentals? I don't know. I don't know.
Will there even be any fines?
Exactly.
You put $1,000 in fines, but I know we talked about, and most libraries now aren't charging fines.
Yeah. And that's what, during curbside, we're not going to be charging fines. And also another thing, I know that the checkout limit is $5. If you have $5 in fines, you cannot check out. That is low. That is low. I'm not sure I've ever seen a library that low. So during curbside, we are increasing that. If you have $20 in fines, you can still check out, just because things are crazy. I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, and I know that the MLC was talking about going fine free totally before this all happened, because St. Louis County and St. Louis City both did.
Right.
So yeah, we might, I put 1,000 in there, but are we going to even get any at all? I don't know. Are we going to get any state aid? What is that going to look like? I just don't know. And I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to overestimate. I didn't want to say, oh yeah, we're going to be totally fine and get, the same 540 that we got last year, because we might not. And I think it's better to come out and say, oh, surprise, we did get 540. Yay for us. Instead of being like, oh no, we're missing all this money. So I can change it. I can definitely change it. I'm open to, suggestions and talks, and I can reach out to the MLC. But I just wanted to be very conservative with it.
Yeah, I think that sounds smart to me. I mean, I don't know about making budgets in times of pandemic, so
yeah, it's totally new for everybody. Absolutely. And something that some libraries do is they look at it in December and say, okay, let's readjust this. I don't know what the auditors in Missouri are like, if they would be okay with that. I have a call with our auditor tomorrow to actually talk about last year's audit and just kind of see if he can walk me through it. And that's something I can ask him and say, hey, I've been at libraries where they reassess their budget in December and see where they're at and see what needs to be changed. Like, is that cool if we do that?
One thing to talk to the auditor about is last time, I think it was the last time we did the audit, he mentioned that, we refinanced the bonds that paid for the library renovation years ago, and we're paying that off early. And he was talking about how our legal authority would allow us to continue those collections, even though the debt service had been paid off.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like an avenue to explore, considering our roof unexpected expenses. So I would ask him specifically about that.
Yes. The debt service had me in tears yesterday. I was so freaked out by the whole debt service thing.
He can explain the whole thing to you.
I was like freaking out so bad. Cause I've just had bonds. I've never had bonds where I had to pay, like they were just kind of there. And so whenever I was looking at this debt service budget, I couldn't find any information. I didn't know how much our payment was supposed to be. I couldn't find, so I did actually reach out to the lawyer from Gilmore. I can't think of what it is. But he was, yes, thank you. But he was so incredibly helpful and pointed me right to the number I needed, said, look, go to this page, there it is. So he was wonderful. And then I did find something that Kathy had signed, and I'm wondering if it's an extension of the bonds, because I'm honestly not for sure what it is. And I can pull it up real quick, actually, if this thing will move.
John, Eric, and I paid a big, like $40,000 check or something towards it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I signed a big check for that account.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm looking at, but it was in the bond folder. There was a big folder that was marked bonds 2017, and it was right on top, and it was Kathy's signature, and it was from last year. So I don't know if that is, if they did get extended or if it's just something totally different. I don't know.
I mean, we talked to her about investigating it, but I think the board would have had to approve that, and I don't recall a discussion of it.
Okay. I'm on my husband's Mac because Macs are so much better, but it's going so slow. But my computer sounds like a helicopter. It is awful. Okay, so this is what I found. And it, like I said, it was in the bonds folder. So that says pledge receipt release request on this one.
2020.
And that 2027, I thought the bonds were paid off in 2024. So whenever I saw that 2027 date, that's why I was confused.
Well, we refinanced them, which changed the payoff date.
And here's the other one that I found. Again, it says pledge receipt release request at the top.
I don't think that's an extension. I think that's like the annual report that we're paying the service on it or something along those lines.
Okay, okay. So the original schedule that I have should still be good.
And the auditor can confirm that.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, I have a phone conversation tomorrow afternoon with Nick, I think his name is. So yeah. And that was number one on my list of questions to ask him was tell me everything you can about the bonds.
On the debt collection service, whenever I sign the little things, they make it out like they're like we're making a profit off of them. But
they are something else. Let me tell you. So I do have the ROI for that. Okay. So the ROI is 4-to-1, which is whatever. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not fantastic. But my problem with the collections is I think that it's bad community relations. We have so many libraries who are going fine free, who are lifting that barrier to access. And then we're over here sending you collections letters. I just personally think it's bad relations. And I just don't think that especially if we're going fine free, you know, it's silly. We're going to be canceling it anyway if we're not going to be doing fines at all. And they just, something else that they do that I don't like is if we waive a fine, you come in and you say, I got this collections letter, but oh my gosh, my house burned down and that's where all the books are. And I have been just, you know, trying to get my life back together. And that's why I haven't returned them, you know, and we say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me just waive that for you. They include that in the ROI. And that's not part of our investment with them. If we're choosing to waive those fines, that should not be included in figuring out that ROI. So that's another problem that I have. But it's just my preference to not do debt collection. Like I said, I just think it's bad community.
Engagement.
Yeah.
So are we paying the debt collectors to do this?
Yes.
And so we could eliminate that expense and then we presumably collect less debt.
Yeah, maybe not. Because the other thing is all they're doing is sending a letter. Legally, library fines cannot go on your credit report. So they're literally just, so I could send a letter. I could send a letter out and say, hey, you know, this is, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I said, I just don't like it.
What is the success rate of us collecting that debt, I guess? Like, what's the return on investment for this debt collection service?
So the return on investment is 4 to 1. But like I said, if we choose to waive a fine, they include that in their return on investment.
Well, that's not fair.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. That's what, and it took me a long time. I did this. I dealt with this last year. It took me a long, okay, I'm lying. It took my assistant director because I made her deal with it. But it took her a long time to get them to admit that. They were not originally including that in the information, and she badgered them to get an exact breakdown. And that's when we found out that they are putting waived fines in that amount. So now whenever you get this, it does say, so I don't know if that was because of us. I don't know if they started doing that because of us, because she wore them down. But now it says on here that you have those waived fees.
It seems like based on that, just looking at these figures, we're probably only talking about $1,000 of lost debt collection annually if you canceled that.
Yes. So here is another thing. Whenever they give us this number, it is since the very beginning of us having debt collection. So this number I'm about to read you is from 2001 to like
2019.
Yeah, well, actually March of 2020. Okay. So March 2001 to March of 2020, we have recovered $40,000 worth of items. So that's not even money. That's us getting items back. Yeah. So they had 5 DVDs. They brought those 5 DVDs back. So that's not actual cash money. The actual cash recovery for the past 19 years has been $16,000. So in $16,000, we've collected in 19 years, we have collected $16,000. We have submitted to them $127,000. So we have tried to get $127,000 worth of materials back. And we've gotten about $40,000 worth of materials and only $16,000 cash money. And we're paying them every month. I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't seem worth it.
Yeah.
It's like 10%. Yeah.
Ashley, are you proposing then just to mail out letters for like way overdue books, you know?
I will talk to Kim and see, because most libraries automatically send out overdue notices, send out bills. It's already happening. So by the time Unique reaches out, we've already talked to them 2, 3, 4 times. So if we need to add another one to that, then we can. Otherwise, we can decide, just the 2, 3 times we reach out is good enough.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it seems kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And with our contract, I can cancel it with 60 days notice. So it's not like I have to wait until, I can just send them a letter and in 60 days it's canceled.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's really great you are pointing this out, because I don't think it was ever anything. I don't really recall specifically discussing, you know, whether or not to get rid of it before. I mean, I remember the fine, the fee waiving thing, which is more recent, but I don't remember ever talking about, you know, not using the debt collection and that kind of thing. So I think it's good.
But this doesn't include the roof yet, right?
Correct. Right. So kind of what I did is after I added all of this stuff, whatever I had left down here to make this 0, I threw into the building repairs, which ended up being 31, almost 32,000.
Gotcha.
But this was also prior to the insurance conversation. So we'll have to add that insurance cost back in there. Whether it's with the city or something that we have to, you know, if the board members aren't covered, then we have to go out and get it, you know, whatever that looks like. Another question that I had is if we had a lawyer on retainer.
I doubt it.
Okay. Because that might also be a consideration. Either
you get one through the library board or whatever, right?
You get one free consultation or something like that.
Yes, exactly. So with the MPLD,
yeah.
You get one free consultation, which hopefully is fine most of the time. But if something comes up, it could be very, I don't know. And I could also see what the city attorney, you know, most city attorneys totally separate themselves from the libraries and tell you to get a library specific attorney. But I could always ask and see, you know, if we have questions, can we reach out, or what that relationship looks like.
Because not only do we have to consider the cost of the roof, but then there's also the cost of the floor in the reading room.
Yes, which I am actually hoping that the city will help us with, because we found a bunch of flooring in the closet downstairs.
Really?
And I'm pretty sure it's the same. I could be wrong, but it looks very similar.
I think Terry mentioned that at one point, so I think it is the same.
Okay, cool. And, you know, Anthony told me, like, if there's anything little that we can, like, come and help out with, like, let us know. And so I tested it because I bought this big old bulletin board to replace, we had that little bulletin board in the foyer there for public postings, and it was covered. Papers were like falling off. So I bought like a big old one that like I could not like I could not hold it up without it falling on my head. So I did. I called the city and I was like, hey, can somebody put up a couple bulletin boards for me? And they came out that afternoon and did it. So I think as far as maybe patching some of the holes in the drywall, I think they would probably help us with that. As long as we have the floor, I think that they might help us, you know, lay it. I think that they're willing to do that kind of thing.
Well, I know he said he would have someone come cut out the damaged part.
Okay.
When we did the tour that day, he said that he would send somebody to cut out the damaged part.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, even that helps. Yeah. I mean, whatever they're willing to do for us, I will take.
The other question, or the question that I had, was about the salaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we talked a little bit about this last spring, doing raises for the employees that were above minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought there was like an ad hoc committee or something that was supposed to look into salaries. Does that ring a bell with anybody?
It does. I believe that was me. Who was supposed to look at that. With,
Well,
with Kripa.
so much has come up, you know, since then, because weren't we talking about, I guess, you know, what's equitable as far as percentages when, you know, the minimum wage is going up and that kind of thing.
Right, exactly. Like we might want to have some separation between a shelver and somebody who's working the desk.
Right. I think we were looking at, if you kept giving, you know, 85 cents to some of these other employees, then could the budget actually support, because you're talking 6 to 7%, you know, maybe even 8% type of raises.
So one thing that I was going to point out is that typically it is recommended, and this is from the American Library Association, and they may have gotten it from other business associations, I don't know. But according to the American Library Association, your staff salary should be at least 60% of your entire budget. And currently ours is 46%. So yeah, so personally, 85-cent increases over the next couple of years, I think will actually get us to where we're supposed to be. I haven't done the math that far out, but at least for this year, it gets us closer. Because it's the number is a lot lower than what they recommend.
Did you include the debt service as part of the total expenses in that calculation, Ashley?
So the debt service is its own collection. So
right, but it's a cost. It's an expense for the library of occupancy. So if we left and rented a building, we'd have to pay rent. So this is like our rent, basically.
So I did not see anywhere to put that in the general budget.
But if ALA has a rule of thumb, you're calculating the total expenses, you'd want to look at the annual cost of the debt service as well as the other expenses.
Okay. I was just looking at this straight general budget. Because I was in my head acting like the debt service was its own total different thing. Like it was like not even on the same plane in my head. That's the way I was.
Of course, that makes our percent even lower.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would think that they should probably stay separate because we're not actually pulling any money from this at the time. From that revenue. So yeah. So I think that salaries is actually on the, I don't know if we're jumping ahead, if it's on the, oh, for some reason I thought that it was actually on the agenda. I guess not. But since it's part of the budget, it's here. So that is, I have the minimum wage raising for the shelvers, the non-minimum wage, non-salaried employees to get that same 85-cent raise. And then the salaried employees getting the typical, I'm pretty sure you guys have always just done 2%, right? 2% raise. I think that's pretty standard.
It's varied. Sometimes it's been more than 2%.
Okay. I have it at 2% right now. It can be whatever, but that's where it is now.
And that's like a cost of living raise, like an inflation cover. Right. It's not really a raise, it's just keeping up.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then I have it set right now. I didn't know what I didn't look into the personnel policy or anything to see if this was covered. But I do have that probationary employees won't actually get a raise until that probationary period is over. because I just don't think it's normal to give somebody a raise after a month.
Right.
I mean, the probationary period makes sense to me to have the raise come into effect after that, but you know, be interested to hear what other people think. So
yeah, especially with such you know, having a 6-month probationary period, I think that's pretty long.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It like I said, it just made sense to me to not give somebody a raise who's only been here a month.
Yes, that makes sense for sure.
Do I need to flip back to the budget, or what screen do you want me to be on?
We're not going to approve the budget this time, right? Because it's just a first draft.
Right.
Ashley, didn't you say you needed approval for the website tonight? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, I don't think it has to be anything official. I just wanted to make sure that it was cool if I moved forward.
And the consensus was yes.
Yeah, I like
And then did we also have a consensus on canceling the collections?
I think that is a good idea.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Is that considered, like, as far as just we're all in agreement? I don't have to put in like that there was a motion and a second.
I think that's within the daily operation purview of the director's duties. So I don't think an official vote is necessary. But if you guys want to just do it just to be safe, you know, that's fine.
I'll defer to you, Ashley.
Sounds good to me. Daily operational duties.
Yeah. So yeah, that covers everything that I had. The nominating committee, that was on, like, I found a list of what you guys do each month, and that was on there. So that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is the nominating committee for roles for next fiscal year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which Evan rolls into the president slot as VP. So we have we'll have a position open for VP, and would the secretary and treasurer be comfortable maintaining their role? Because usually it's nice for continuity. Or
Yeah, I'm okay.
And that's really it, right? Those four.
I think so.
Yes.
So we just need a new Heather. Is Heather comfortable with being treasurer again?
Yeah, it's really easy for me because I live so close.
So we just need a new VP.
Do we just draw straws for that, or how's that work?
Normally the nominating committee is the one that has to figure that out.
Let's have a nominating committee right now to say if you would like to be vice president, speak up.
Tamara, do you go off at the board at the end of June?
I'm pretty sure that I do. I haven't checked the thing, but I'm fairly certain that that's the case. Yes. And you know, I'm not sure. Do I come to the June meeting and that's the last one?
I believe so.
Okay. All right.
Because then usually there's no July meeting, and then in August the new.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And I was thinking of asking a neighbor of mine if he would be interested in serving on the board, because he seems like he would be a great addition. I don't know if anyone else has any, you know.
Is he cool?
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and he's African American, which I think would be, you know, like a nice balance to the board.
For sure.
I think that's
recommendation.
to get more diversity.
Can we make him VP?
Well, first I have to ask him, you know, I haven't done that yet. So
don't they post it now on the city website? Aren't the board openings supposed to be posted?
Yeah,
they are. I wasn't sure if there was any harm in, you know, saying, hey,
sure, give him a heads up. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, he may not, you know, obviously he may not want to, but
yeah,
I figured there's no harm in asking, right?
For sure. Yeah, you can definitely solicit an application from him, because I know there's a little bit of movement within city council to make all board nominations more of like a professional process instead of just who manages to email Barry first.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're like posting things and having a set like
and I was also, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that the way that they used to do the nominating thing was almost like, as long as a board member didn't disagree or have a problem with it, you know, due to personal commitments or whatever, it was almost like a rotational thing, like you know, the next two newest people, you know, would eventually make it to being nominated for like VP and president, and then the VP would be president and so on. I kind of got the sense that maybe that's how they used to do it, but again, you know, maybe like depending on time commitments and stuff, I don't know if that was always the case.
It varied. I mean, like there was one year I was still pretty new and I volunteered to be VP, but nobody told me that was also president-elect. So that was a rude shock.
Oops.
Yeah, so I might just be imagining that it was that it seemed rotational, you know, it could, who knows?
I mean, it functionally kind of ended up that way.
Yeah.
And there have been people that didn't want to, weren't comfortable doing it. So.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I volunteered to be president, but I wasn't that comfortable doing it. So that's an example for you right there.
So I guess our newest members, technically, even though Charlie was on the board previously, would be Charlie and then Gina. So Gina or Charlie, any interest in VP?
Charlie, I hear you have some experience in that position.
Are you trying to get out of that? Is that what I'm hearing?
That might be what you're hearing. I mean, I am willing to take on that if you are not interested, but I'm not like jumping at the chance. So how's that for commitment?
If no one else wants to do it, I'll rotate down to VP.
Sounds like a Putin move right there.
Yeah. We'll go from prime minister to president to
into library board fascism. This is good.
yeah.
Tim could do it again.
Oh, it's the classic cat in the Zoom meeting. Thanks.
Oh.
Been waiting for it this whole time. So I do have two questions about the opening. So you said that it should be posted on the city website. So do I need to reach out to somebody at the city and say, hey, or?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes, I would say yes.
But I know that
there's someone on top of it because they would send out a letter or an email when your third year was over and you're, needed to start a new cycle. Does that make sense?
Oh.
From the city,
Really?
Joyce? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because I would get an email. Well, first it was a letter when Mayor White was in office. And then the last time when Greenberg was in office, it was an email wanting to know if I wanted to continue, another term. So they automatically contacted me.
it might be that somewhere along the line that kind of fell through the cracks because I don't know if I've gotten.
Well, you've had 3 terms, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if I've got the renewal thing, but you know what, it could be my memory. Sometimes if I get an email, sometimes I just stick the email in a folder, file and forget it.
Well, Tamara, if it means anything, I didn't even know that I'd been appointed until somebody pointed it out to me that it was on the city agenda. So.
Oh, great.
I would say communication is not consistent.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh
And is it 2 or 3 terms before somebody has to sit off a term?
I don't, because this is my
3.
third, and
Okay.
I think as long as you sit out, then you can always try to.
And how long is a
back.
term again?
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yes, you can have 3 3-year terms.
So then my next question is, do you want this advertised anywhere else that we have a board opening? On Facebook, on our website, anything like that?
Yes.
I did see it. I saw it somewhere very recently. It may have been the Facebook, the Maplewood City Hall Facebook or something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a guy reach out to me asking about
I'll
the
check.
board a few months ago, so I'll forward you his information too. But Tamara, yeah, if your neighbor would be good, that'd be great. Great to get some.
Yeah, we'll ask him. I think he would be really good. His name's Corey.
Do you guys have an application or?
No,
I sent in my resume to Greenberg, I think.
It's the resume and letter.
Yeah,
Letter.
I did a letter, but there was no application, just a letter.
But don't
And
forget your resume.
Terry would also put on the website if there was an opening on the board.
Okay. All right, we can do that. And if you want to streamline it by making an application, I can give you examples that I've seen out there. So.
Okay.
Do we have a vice president?
Who has? Charlie, are you okay with being vice president?
I can do it if nobody else wants it.
You guys can think about it. You don't have to decide until August.
Okay.
Okay.
How many people on this board have not served in that role yet?
Gina, right?
That's me, correct. I have not.
I think that's it.
Heather.
Oh, Heather, she's there.
My hand and then I put it down again.
So hard to see you.
And Crippy.
I've just been the secretary.
And you should also speak up if you're sick of being secretary, you know, you want to try something else. It's okay to say so.
Secretary is like the most thankless job on any board.
But very important too.
Yeah, so we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna take all of the awkward silence as indication that we will think about this.
Okay, I will volunteer to contact some of the people who were asked tonight, and if someone wants to be on the nominating committee with me, I will make contacts and see who will be the officers next year. So we can end this silence.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. With that said, I guess we can have a motion to adjourn, because I don't think we need a closed session, do we?
No, but
I don't have anything.
there was a patron code of conduct under new business. Did we talk about that?
Oh, I just wanted to know if the policy committee would be willing to work with me on creating a new one. Because I know you guys only did it 4 years ago, but it is not end user friendly. I think a lot of patrons and even some staff have asked me questions about it.
It's not,
so just
I missed the last thing you said. What? It's not what?
End user friendly.
Oh, end user. Okay.
Like, yeah, like whenever patrons come in, I don't think that it's just very wordy.
Okay.
That's what, so I just wanted to know if I could get started on one, and if the policy committee would be willing to work with me on that.
Sure.
Okay.
Who is the policy committee again?
Tim, is it you and I? Is there somebody else? I know I am. Tim, are you? Aren't you?
Yeah, it might have been. We haven't done much in a while. We've been busy with other stuff, obviously.
Right, right.
I did write it down, but I don't know where I wrote it down at. So yeah, so I'll get started on it, and I'll just reach out to you.
Perfect.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
Have a motion to adjourn?
Evan motions to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you,
Thanks, everybody.
Ashley, thank you so much.
It's a long meeting.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Bye.
Do you think next month we'll be able to actually meet in person or not?
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're moving in that direction. But there could also be a backslide. So I think as long as there's not a backslide, I think we'll be okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.